Hi YouTube, it's Kathy and I'm here for another edition of Five Bookish Questions. How this works is I get together with another booktuber, not physically, just online, and we decide that we're going to exchange 5 bookish questions. So I send them 5, they send me 5, and then we make this collaboration video. I've done this a few times before and I've actually created a playlist for everybody who creates 5 bookish question videos, so that will be linked down below. If you've made your own, please let me know about it so I can put it on the playlist. Without further ado, let's meet the person that I am exchanging questions with this time and go on to the first question.
Hi Kathy's channel, my name is Stef and you can find me on the booktube channel Noveltea Corner where I read a lot of random things on a weekly basis. I'm really excited to be participating in 5 bookish questions with Kathy, so let's jump into it. My first question is, name 3 authors that you believe deserve more love.
Ooh, what I really like about this question is it gives you an opportunity to talk about authors that maybe I love, because obviously, but maybe they're the authors that people haven't heard of as much, which is very exciting. And of course, because this is a booktube video, as soon as you ask that question, all the names of all the authors ever go right out of my head. I should mention that the way that I film these videos is I don't look at the questions ahead of time, I just have to think up my answers on the spot. Because I think that makes it a little bit more fun. First, let's go with Austen Chant. This is an author that is very niche to the queer side of booktube, and I've heard a couple of people talk about Austen Chant. Obviously, Adriana from Perpetual Pages is the reason I know about Austen Chant, but I would love to see way more people talking about Austen Chant's work. I particularly like Peter Darling, which is a queer trans retelling of Peter Pan, and I recently read a novella called Caroline's Heart, which takes place in 1875, has to do with a cowboy and a witch. An author who is definitely finding success, who I love, but they're just at the forefront of my brain because I just pre-ordered their book that's coming out in July, is Alice Oseman. This is another author I absolutely adore. Alice writes webcomics and YA books and just understands fandom in such a way that I'm just gripped into everything she writes. The first thing I ever read from her was Radio Silence, and I absolutely adore that book. And the book that I just pre-ordered is Loveless, which is an Ace Arrow coming out story, and I cannot wait. And someone else who could never get enough love is Taylor Simons, who wrote Collateral Damage. Taylor is a friend of mine. I met her before she actually published her book, and I heard that she had one coming out, and I said, I want to read it immediately. So I was very happy to eventually get an ARC copy of it, and I absolutely adored this. This is sort of a superhero book, but told from somebody in the background of a superhero movie, and it's just so much fun. It's also the type of book where there is absolutely no romance, and the main character is super snarky, so how could I not love it?
Question 2 is, what is a book that blows you away?
A book that blows me away. Okay, I feel like this is going to be something that like made me do that like theatrical gasp at some point, and the only one that's like springing to my mind immediately as I hear the question is The Silent Patient. That one definitely had a giant twist that I did not see coming, and I'm pretty sure made me do a theatrical gasp, so let's just go with that. The other reason I never listen to the questions before I make the video is then I don't feel bad about not remembering every single possible thing that I could have answered in a question.
Question 3 is, who is a character you would trade places with? Even just for a little while.
I think for this one, just because I think it would be an interesting experience, I'm going to say April May from An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, just to see what that fame is like and that adventure of finding this new thing and then get myself out of that life, because no spoilers for that book, but I wouldn't want that life indefinitely. I just think it would be really interesting for just a little while to feel what it's like to be famous and rich and all of those types of things, but I don't necessarily want that to actually be my life. I'm not going to say no if people want to throw money at me. For example, I recently opened a coffee account, so if you have a few dollars you can throw my way. That link is in the description, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with, you know, a small amount of fame and, you know, enough money to feed myself.
Question 4 is, what is something you would love to see in a book, whether it's a character or a trope or a setting? I'd really love to know, what would you love to see in a future book?
I could answer this in so many ways. As for a character, I just love to see queer characters thriving and the book have nothing to do with the fact that they're queer and the struggle of that. As for tropes, one that I can think of immediately is the there's only one bed trope, so that's how some romance gets started. And as for settings, I want more things set in Edinburgh, Scotland, because I miss it. So if we can just combine all of that into a book, that's what I want.
My final question is sort of a 2-part question, so I think of it as 5A and 5B. Who is a character you would invite to dinner, and what would you serve them?
Ooh, well, firstly, it would have to be a character that would not necessarily want to be impressed by my culinary skills because they are minimal. I also don't cook with meat because I'm vegan, so that makes me think I want a vegan or a vegetarian character, and the one that I've most recently read that I can think of is Oliver from Boyfriend Material. He is the love interest or the fake boyfriend in this book, and he doesn't eat meat, so maybe him, although his standard of food is much higher than mine, a little fancier than mine, although he is able to be down to earth and have like French toast. So maybe I would invite him over and we would have some vegan grilled cheese sandwiches and just talk about life. That actually sounds lovely. And he's the type of character that needs more queer friends. He's queer but doesn't have a lot of queer friends, and that's just kind of a problem.
I can't wait to hear your answers, Kathy, and I look forward to answering your questions over on my channel.
Thank you so much for your questions, Stef. They really made me think, which I should have considered filming this later in the day when I was more woken up, but I feel like I did okay. You can, of course, see what I asked Stef over on her channel, and that will be linked down below as well. How would you have answered these questions? Let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you don't feel like leaving a comment but want to make sure that I know you were here, just leave me an emoji or a smiley face if you're on your keyboard. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!